The evening sun cast long shadows across my front lawn as I pulled into the driveway after a grueling 14-hour shift. My badge felt heavy against my chest, and all I wanted was a cold beer and my couch. I'd spent the day coordinating a multi-agency task force operation, the kind of work that required every ounce of concentration I had. As a Deputy U.S. Marshal for the past 12 years, I'd seen my share of tense situations, but nothing could have prepared me for what was about to unfold in my own home. I noticed them immediately, 3 men in ill-fitting tactical vests standing on my front porch. They wore patches that read HOA Security Enforcement in gaudy gold lettering. The tallest one, a barrel-chested man with a military-style haircut, was holding what appeared to be a battering ram. "Can I help you, gentlemen?" I called out, my hand instinctively moving toward my hip where my service weapon rested. The tall one turned, his face twisted into a sneer of self-importance. "So, we're with the Meadowbrick Estates HOA Security Division. We have authorization to enter and inspect this property for multiple violations." I felt my jaw tighten. Authorization from whom? Exactly. "From HOA President Patricia Thornwell," he announced, pulling out a laminated card that looked like it had been made at a print shop. "I'm Officer Brad Hutchins, Chief of HOA Security. You violated Sections 4.2, 7.8, and 12.3 of the Community Guidelines." I couldn't help but laugh, though there was no humor in it. "Officer, you're not a police officer, and you're certainly not entering my home." Brad's face reddened. "So, if you don't comply, we're authorized to use necessary force to ensure community compliance." Before I could respond, he gestured to his companions, and they moved toward my door. That's when I saw they'd already broken the lock. My front door hung slightly ajar, the wood around the deadbolt splintered and damaged. "You already broke into my house." The words came out low and dangerous. "We attempted to make contact for 30 minutes, Brad said, his chest puffing out. "The HOA bylaws clearly state that after reasonable notice. Step away from my door. Now." I pulled out my badge and federal credentials, holding them up. "Deputy U.S. Marshal James Crawford. You've just committed breaking and entering on a federal law enforcement officer's residence." For a moment, Brad's confidence wavered, but then his jaw set stubbornly. "That doesn't matter. HOA regulations supersede federal law." I interrupted, my voice rising. "Is that what you were about to say?" Brad made a crucial mistake then. He pushed my door fully open and stepped inside, his 2 companions following. "We're conducting our inspection." I immediately pulled out my phone and dialed 911, putting it on speaker. "This is Deputy U.S. Marshal James Crawford, badge number 2847. I have 3 individuals who forcibly entered my home at 1247 Oakmorn Drive. I need local PD here immediately." I followed them inside, documenting everything with my phone's camera. What I saw made my blood boil. They'd already been through my living room. My bookshelf had been toppled, books scattered across the floor. Picture frames lay shattered, glass glittering on the hardwood. My grandmother's antique lamp, a family heirloom, lay in pieces. "What the hell have you done?" I demanded. Brad turned, holding a clipboard. "Your lawn exceeded the permitted height by 2 inches. Your garbage cans were visible from the street on a non-collection day. And your mailbox paint doesn't match the approved color scheme." He gestured around my demolished living room. "We encountered resistance during our compliance check." "Resistance? I wasn't even here." "Structural resistance," one of the other men said, actually smirking. He was younger, maybe mid-20s, with acne scars and the swagger of someone who'd finally found a tiny bit of power to abuse. "Your furniture was blocking our inspection path." They moved toward my bedroom, and I stepped in front of them. "That's far enough. You're not going anywhere else in my home." Brad reached for something on his belt, a canister of pepper spray. "So, if you obstruct an official HOA investigation, touch that spray and I'll arrest all 3 of you right now for assault on a federal officer," I said, my voice cold and level. Years of training kicked in, the same calm I use when facing armed fugitives. "The local police are 2 minutes out. I suggest you stand very still and keep your hands where I can see them." Brad's hand dropped, but his face was defiant. You can't do anything to us. We're protected under HOA authority. Patricia Thornwell has connections. She plays golf with the mayor. Her husband is a state senator. Is that so? I pulled out my phone again, this time calling a different number. Hey, Sarah, it's James. I need you to pull up everything we have on Patricia Thornwell and anyone associated with Meadowbrick Estates HOA. Sarah was our office's intelligence analyst, and she was phenomenal at her job. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. Brad shifted nervously, glancing at his companions. You're overreacting. This is just community enforcement. You broke into my home. You destroyed my property. And now you're trespassing after being ordered to leave by the homeowner. I counted off each offense on my fingers. That's breaking and entering, vandalism, criminal trespass, and possibly attempted assault with that pepper spray you reached for. The siren stopped outside. Car doors slammed. Moments later, 4 local police officers entered through my broken front door, hands on their weapons. Marshal Crawford, the lead officer, asked. I recognized him. Sergeant Mike Torres, a good cop I'd worked with on several fugitive cases. Mike, glad you're here. These 3 broke into my home and destroyed my property. They claimed they're with some HOA security force. Mike's eyes widened as he took in the damage, then narrowed as he looked at Brad and his crew. HOA security? That's not a thing. Not a legal thing. Anyway, we have authorization. Brad protested, thrusting his laminated card forward. Mike barely glanced at it. So, this means nothing. You're not law enforcement. You've committed multiple felonies. He nodded to his officers. Cuff them. As the officers moved in, Brad's bravado finally cracked. Wait. Patricia told us this was legal. She said we had authority. She said we were protected. You were lied to, I said flatly, and you were stupid enough to believe it. While the officers processed the 3 men, Mike walked through my home with me, documenting the damage. My living room looked like a tornado had hit it. In my kitchen, they dumped out all my cabinets, apparently looking for non-compliant storage containers. My bedroom door had been kicked in. They hadn't even tried the handle. The door frame was split, the door itself hanging at an angle. This is extensive, James, Mike said, shaking his head. Easily 15,000 in damages. And it's all on camera, I said, pointing to the subtle security camera mounted in my living room corner. I have the whole thing recorded from when they first broke in. Mike's expression turned grim. We're going to need that footage. And I think you should make a call to the FBI. If this HOA president is running some kind of fake security force, breaking into people's homes, that's a federal issue. He was right. I called my office and spoke directly to my supervising marshal. Within an hour, FBI agents were at my home, interviewing me and reviewing my security footage. The video was damning. It showed Brad and his crew breaking in with a battering ram, then systematically destroying my property while searching for violations. But the story got even better. Sarah called me back with information that made my entire terrible day worthwhile. James, you're not going to believe this, she said, excitement in her voice. Patricia Thornwell has been running this scam for 3 years. She's targeted at least 15 homeowners in your neighborhood. She fabricates violations, sends her fake security team in, and then offers to settle the damages if the homeowners pay massive fines, usually $20,000 to $30,000. Most people pay because they're afraid of losing their homes. That's extortion, I said, anger building in my chest. It gets better. Her husband, State Senator Richard Thornwell, helped her draft fake legal documents that make it look legitimate. They've collected over $400,000 from frightened homeowners. The FBI is very interested. 2 days later, I watched from my repaired front porch as FBI agents arrested Patricia Thornwell in front of her mansion-sized home. She screamed about her rights, her connections, her husband's position. None of it mattered. Her husband was arrested at his office the same morning. Brad and his 2 companions had already been charged with multiple felonies. In exchange for reduced sentences, they'd turned on Patricia, providing detailed records of every home they'd raided, every intimidation tactic they'd used, every illegal order they'd followed. The local news ran the story for weeks. Fake HOA police ring busted was the headline. My neighbors started coming forward, people who'd been too scared to speak up before. Elderly couples who'd paid their entire savings to avoid HOA prosecution. Single mothers threatened with home seizure. Veterans intimidated by men in tactical gear. The HOA was dissolved entirely. A class action lawsuit was filed, and I became an unexpected neighborhood hero, though I didn't feel like one. I'd just been defending my home, something every person has a right to do. 3 months later, I stood in federal court and watched Patricia and Richard Thornwell sentenced to 8 and 10 years in prison, respectively. Brad got 5 years. The others got 3 each. As I walked out of the courthouse, a reporter stopped me. Marshal Crawford, what would you say to other HOAs who might be considering similar tactics? I looked directly into the camera. I'd say remember that badges, real badges, come with real authority and real accountability. Fake badges just come with consequences. My front door, now properly repaired and reinforced, has never looked better. And my lawn? I keep it exactly 2 inches longer than the old HOA rules specified. Just because I can.